Hey guys, just before I get started on this, I just want to clarify something. The last couple of years I've never liked making videos about COVID because it's just too controversial and it just attracts all sorts of strange ideas and strange attacks sometimes for saying things that people disagree with. So just really quickly, there seems to be a scale of people. There's some people who think that COVID doesn't really exist, it's all fake and a conspiracy or a lie or whatever it is, and that anybody that believes COVID is real must be ignorant and a sheep and all those other things. And then at the other end of the scale, there's some other people who think that COVID's actually much, much worse than we're being told, and that it's all being kept a secret from us, and that if you don't understand how dangerous it really is, then you must be ignorant and a sheep, right? And then between those 2 points, COVID's fake, it's not real, and COVID's much worse than you think, there's everybody else, right? All the other people. So we understand that people have that wide range of opinions on the thing. It's not what we're about, you know. Our videos are about Japan. The only reason I'm making this video is some of our regulars have been asking, how you going, what's going on at the old farmhouse, you know, how's your family getting on with COVID and that sort of stuff, right? So those of you who missed it, we've all got it. Oh, incidentally, I'll start with that. The last video I made on this topic, I had it and my kids had it. And the wife who had a booster shot a couple of weeks ago hadn't got it. She hadn't caught it. But of course, we got told to isolate in the house, right? And we had to stay in the house together. So, you know, we tried with masks and alcohol and things to try and avoid her getting it as well, but inevitably she got it as well, right? So she got it too, and then what we saw happen, because some people want to know what's going on with this, just so that they know about what it's like to actually experience it. You know, it turns out a lot of you guys have already experienced it for yourselves. We know that from the comments that people have told us that they've experienced it already. So you guys already know. But for those who haven't experienced, the kids got high temperatures, up to 39.5 degrees. They got coughs. They're really sleepy. You lose all your energy and you get low energy and things. I had a bit of a temperature, 38, something like that, and cough and the congestion in the chest and things like that. But as I mentioned in the last video, I think I was lucky. I had had the vaccination, so I think that helped. But also, my lungs were in pretty good condition because I've been doing lots of exercise before I got sick. So my lungs managed to keep their capacity. So even now, there's still some congestion there, but you know, my breathing's still okay, and it's just a little bit heavier than normal, and still a little bit difficult to speak for too much. So, but really not too bad, and everybody's sort of through it. So we all went through our own little peak. I peaked first and got the bad temperature and felt pretty crappy, and for a couple of days or a few days, and then it came back down, and the kids had the same, and then the wife had the same. So now we've got to the point now where we've got to survive a couple more days in the house, and then we'll be free. So the Japanese system is, it's of course it's complicated, right? If you haven't had any symptoms, if you test positive but you haven't had any symptoms, you've got to stay in the house for a certain period of time. If you have tested positive and you have symptoms, then you've got to stay in the house for a certain period of time, and then you have to be symptom free for a certain number of days, and because we're together, so that changed the calculations as well. So the bottom line is we've got a couple more days in the house, everybody, so nobody's been going to school or work or anything. A couple more days of that, and then we'll be free and we'll be able to go out. And then it just says please be careful when you are free again, to make sure that you wear a mask and do the alcohol thing and everything. Just, you know, continue to do that when you get out of the house. So it'll just be good not to have to do it in the house, because the way they wanted us to do it is everybody has to be in a different room and isolate from each other as well, which to me seems a bit pointless, but they seem to think it's the right thing to do, so that's what we've been doing. So that's been pretty tough, particularly on the kids, I think. But then recently what we've been doing is, as we've been getting better, we've been getting outside, and we're sort of lucky with the old farmhouse that we've got a bit of space around us, so that we can get outside and the kids can ride bikes around, and we can, you know, play a bit of badminton and kick a ball and do a bit of exercise outside, get us going again, a little bit at a time, you know, slowly building that up. So that's been a good thing to do. I've got a whole list of things because people have been asking about all sorts of stuff. Booster, the wife had her booster a couple of weeks ago, and I won't go into all that about the confused information we were given, but the bottom line is that 2 days from now we'll be able to go out and leave the house, and 2 days later I'm booked in for my booster. And so I looked on the internet about it, and it said that as long as you're symptom free, if you've had COVID and you're symptom free, getting the booster is still a good idea. So we called the clinic, and the clinic said, oh, we'll have to see, we're not really sure, Yoko or Karanai. So I'll go 4 days from now and we'll see if they'll give me the booster or not. I sort of do want it. The research I did through the respected, you know, universities and hospitals and things seems to be consensus is it's still worth getting. That after you've had COVID, your immunity's up on that particular strain, but the vaccination or the booster is more effective apparently than actually having had the disease. So I'm keen to get it. Oh yeah, I'd been told that I had to go the health centre. We've had these long phone calls regularly. The phone seems to ring every couple of days from the health centre, and big long conversations and long explanations, and then same with the clinic, long conversations and long explanations and pages of information. It just goes, they love talking about it. And the health centre just belongs to City Hall, and they don't actually do anything. They're just sort of like an information centre, and they just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and I hear these long, I don't get into it, but whatever they say to do, the missus has been doing, right? But you know, they said right at the start that I had to go and have a test, right? But I knew what I had, so I didn't do the test. And you've got to go to the health centre. You've got to go to the health. No, you've got to go to the clinic. You've got to go to the clinic. No, I'm not going to the clinic, right? Because I didn't need any medicine. I was fine. I was getting better on my own, and you know, what's the point? I couldn't see the point, you know. And most of the things that they wanted us to do, I've been going along with for the benefit of everybody. But when it came to actually going and getting a test for myself, I just didn't see the point. So what I did was I got an antigen, do-it-yourself antigen test from the drugstore, and it's $15. And you just basically swab your nose and put it in a little test tube thing with some liquid, and then pour it in a little tester, and it does the line thing, like a pregnancy test sort of thing. And yeah, it tested positive. I knew that. I didn't need to spend $15 on that, but anyway, I did it. And they just pulled their heads in. That you get that sometimes with when they insist that you do things here. You have to go, you have to do this, you have to do that. And most of the stuff they said I've done, but I just wasn't interested in going to the clinic and listening to a big long explanation and all the other bull that they go on with. There's no need. You know, the missus had been, the kids had been, we'd already had all that. They'd come home with pages of information. We already did all that. There's no need for me to go. So eventually they just stopped talking about it. They just stopped saying I had to go. They got over it. Yeah, exercise booster, the antigen test that was, guys. And apparently even after you're actually over it, you still test for antibodies when you do that test, so you still test positive even when you're not anymore, apparently. Oh yeah, the long phone calls, the health centre. Oh, the health centre, the clinic, and the school. The school's been calling up regularly. One good thing that they did was they have a camera in the classroom, and because the kids couldn't go to school, and so they had the camera in the classroom, and so the kids could do the lessons from home and sit there and watch. Because it's just the school year's just started, so they're doing lots of new stuff at the moment. So we could download the paper that she needed, and then watching the class online. So that was a good thing that they did. But again, long conversations with the administrators at the school, and long conversations with the teacher, and there's so much talking goes on. They love it. They love the talking thing, you know. And if you listen, I listen to it. There's nothing new. There's nothing sort of informative about it. It's just sort of all these guys, the clinics and the health centre and the school and everybody else, they all just feel like to be thorough and to be supportive or something, that these big long conversations are important. You know, the doctor at the vaccination centre said, at the vaccination clinic said, come before your appointment, come a day early so we can check you out to see if we're going to give you a vaccination. Which means I'd have to go twice if I got the vaccination. I didn't see the point, so I'm not going to do that either. I'm just going to go. But there's this constant thing with they sort of see it as being thorough and being supportive. But for some of us, it just seems like wasting a lot of time talking about things that are not necessary, right? So, oh yeah, I want to talk about video lag. This week we've been able to release some videos because we keep files, get ideas for videos, and just start collecting files. You know, we start collecting video footage when we're out and about, and we build a file until we've got enough video on that file to make a video. So, for example, we want to make a video about showing how many Jeeps there are. So we started videoing every Jeep we saw for a few days. You know, we collected that video in a file until we had enough that we could make a video. So we do that all the time. If there's a topic we want to make a video about, we start collecting video, and eventually. So what we've been able to do this week is, without leaving the house, we've had some video there that we've shot previously that we've been able to make a video out of. But there will be a lag, because I haven't been out of the house. There will be a lag. Of course, we can still shoot video of the funny goings on next door, and things like that, and we still do have some stuff on file, but there might be a lag over the next week or so, or we might actually miss releasing a video or two because of that lag, you know. So I might make it to the end of this one if I'm lucky. Just checking the time. Yeah, the entertainment for the last week or two has been waiting for the postman to come, or dreading the postman coming, or getting a sinking feeling every time the postman drives into the driveway. As I mentioned in the last video, March and April in Japan is bill time, right? And so it's fairly complex. We made a video about this years ago, how complex the taxation system is, and unnecessarily, you know. And so you get one bill for the tax for the house, right, for the year. It's a 1 year bill, right? And so you get one bill for the tax for the house. You get one bill for health insurance for the family, so that'll be, you know. So you get one bill for the city tax, which is sort of like income tax for the city. And again, the city tax and the tax on the house is actually from the same city hall, but two separate bills, right? Of course. You get pension, so one pension bill for me, one pension bill for her. You get, what else do you get? It just goes on and on. It just goes on and on. Every time the postman came the last couple of weeks, like, oh no. And they're all pretty big. They're all like, you know, they're all pretty big. Particularly family health insurance and stuff like that, and a pension and all those things. So that's sort of like being the last couple of weeks, just watching that guy come in. You know, oh no, because of course we've had a couple of weeks with no income, right? So look, just before I go, I just want to thank again our patrons. So we've got our patrons that have been looking after us for years, that have been supporting the channel for years. You guys are great. And then some of you guys stepped up your support over the last couple of weeks. That was really, really appreciated as well. We've got a couple of new patrons, so we really appreciate your support as well. And then our supporters through PayPal, who probably don't get mentioned nearly enough. You guys have been fantastic as well. So what that's meant is, over the last couple of weeks, the corkboard in the other place is where we keep all the bills, you know, and they get all pinned up in order of urgency. They don't give us any warning. We know they're coming, right? We do know they're coming, so there's no excuse. But the bills turn up with like due in 2 weeks. So you get a bill for like $2,000, and it's due in 2 weeks, and they don't give you any warning at all. You know, like, we know it's coming. In all fairness, we all know it's coming. But you know, 2 weeks notice. There's a bill for 2,000. You know, so you're gonna make sure you don't forget any. So we put them up on the corkboard. So what it's meant is, there was a couple that you can pay you can either pay them every 6 months or you can pay them over a period of 12 months. Like you can make 6 payments instead of 1 and stuff like that. So what we've been able to do, because of those people that's been supporting the channel, we've been able to spend a little bit of time taking a couple down from the corkboard and paying the couple of the more urgent ones. But we're still sweating on the others. So really keen, 2 days from now, really keen to go back to work. We'll be working as much as possible over the next few months to try and to get back on top of it, because we're always a little bit hand to mouth here. We're always a little bit borderline every month with paying the bills, and knew this was coming. March and April's always scary, and knew it was coming. And like, oh, March is coming, and then this stuff 2 weeks ago with the COVID thing was like, oh, timing. And you know, the health centre, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't go to work. Don't go to work. Because those of you who missed it, you know, we don't get sick pay or holiday pay or anything like that. So if we don't go to work, we don't get paid. So again, anybody who's not supporting the channel on Patreon or PayPal, please give that some thought. There's links underneath every video. So I really appreciate that. So the plan is to try and spend more time, I mean spending as much time as possible putting together videos with what video we had. So trying to make it worthwhile for you guys, those of you who have been supporting the channel, trying to make it worthwhile by giving you videos that you want to see. That's why I made this video. I really do want to make this one. Anything about COVID at all, I've always dragged my feet. Before we caught it, last year when things would happen, there'd be now and again there'd be a big spike or something, or around when the Olympics were on, and people would ask, patrons and PayPal supporters would say what's happening at the moment with COVID in Japan. And I was like, oh, because we really want to look after you guys, as far as what you want to watch and what you want to hear about it. So when we get requests from you guys, like that's what this was, the requests from you guys, we always want to try and respond to it, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be making videos. So if you have requests like that, we try and do it. But the COVID one, it's always like, no, I don't want to do it, because it is hard. Don't want to get into big debates with people about whether it's real or not. When you've had it, when you've had it. And I told you guys last video, when you've got it, because I don't really get flu or colds. If I do, it's like a sniffling nose, and it's not a big deal. I go to work and it's not a big deal at all. But when I got this, I knew straight away I had it, because it's different. It is different. It felt different. It was really heavy across here, and you could feel it. It was really different. And so then you get someone telling you it's not real and it's all a trick, and I was thinking this week, it must be like the people who I shouldn't even say this, but I was thinking about the people who had family that died in 9/11 in America. Those guys must feel the same when they hear people talking about it all being fake and everything. Just like when it's actually happened to you, it's hard to listen to that stuff. So, and not respond to it, but it's pointless responding to it, isn't it? So yeah, didn't want to make this video at all. But it's only because of you guys asking, and we do appreciate that concern too. People have been sending us messages and questions, how you're getting on, and you're all okay, and we're fine. We're fine. We're all sort of coughing a bit. It hangs on a bit. Like we're pretty much symptom free now. Nobody's got temperatures or anything like that. Pretty much symptom free, but it does hang on a bit in the chest. So we've all got these sort of coffee coughs going on. So we get outside, we kick the ball around and play a bit of badminton to try and get the lungs going again. That makes us all cough. So you end up with these people standing and coughing. But we're fine. We're fine. So hopefully this will be the last video made on this topic. Don't want to talk about it anymore. Probably the next video on this topic will probably be an update as to how Japan's doing. How Japan is doing at the moment is it actually is down a bit. There's no more state of panic. There's no more state of panic going on. The state of panic, the state of emergencies are over at the moment. And the numbers are down. As far as visas and that sort of thing, nothing's changed since the last video we made about that. You can probably get a visa to come here for work if you've got a sponsor, and come here for business if you've got legit business going on here, but still not letting tourists in yet. But they've been talking about it. So we'll see what happens. we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's more than enough about that. Just the final word before I go: Patreon and PayPal, guys. If you like what we do with our videos and our photos, and you want us to keep doing what we're doing, you know, please consider supporting us. Because once we get out of this house, 2 days from now, I want to be spending as much time as possible at work because, you know, have to really get on top of it again. So the more support we get for the channel, the more time I can spend working on the channel. You know, that's simple math, right? Simple logistics. If it wasn't for the patrons and the PayPal supporters, guys, there'd be no channel. We would have stopped this a long time ago. Years ago, probably. One child ago, probably, we would have had to stop doing this. So it's only because of those patrons and PayPal supporters that we keep doing what we're doing. So to those guys, thanks so much. Anyway, more than enough of that. More videos coming soon.